Merry Christmas, Gillets! To help bring in this holiday season, I couldn't think of a more traditional movie to talk about than Home Alone. Without wasting any time playing any type of jokes on you, let's get straight into it. Here's everything you missed in the movie Home Alone. Dun 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 dun, intro music plays. We don't find very many Easter eggs in this video, but there are a few of them and we're still gonna have fun pointing them out today. Along with some fun random facts about the creation of the movie that you probably didn't know about. Starting off with my two favorite characters in Home Alone, Harry and Marv. We know Marv has some weird habits, like sticking trophies from the robberies to the dashboard of the van.
Harry, it's our calling card.
And he likes flooding each of the houses that they robbed with water, plugging all the sinks.
You're sick, you know that? You're really sick.
Harry seems to be a little bit upset about these weird habits that Marv has. However, it's possible that not only is Marv leaving a calling card, but he's creating more future income for them since they are technically a plumbing service company that specializes in flood control experting.
You're right.
Experting, that's a word.
Congratulations, you're an idiot.
Speaking of that van, it looks like Kevin just barely dodged getting ran over. Regardless of how annoying Kevin may appear to be, they weren't going to risk injuring him, so this scene was actually filmed in reverse. Then they simply flipped the image and played it going forward. Hollywood magic. Usually in movies though, fake phone numbers always start off with 555, not JK or just kidding. But if you look at the letters on your phone, you will see J and K are actually another way to say 5, so it still is 555. Not kidding. Theoretically, Home Alone should have never happened though, because basically this alarm clock here has a built-in battery backup. Way to go, Panasonic. Speaking of Panasonic, we see a lot of brands in here. However, most of it, if not all of it, wasn't actually paid product placement. At least according to the director, Chris Columbus at least. One thing they did film for in hopes of getting a product placement was when Kevin prayed over his mac and cheese, they also filmed another version where he said thanks for this Kraft mac and cheese. However, Kraft didn't want to cough up the money to be in the placement, so we get generic brand mac and cheese. Of course, this means they chose to drink Pepsi because they wanted to. Why? Because Pepsi's better than Coke. Of course, this is based on what the director said. The only way that we could possibly prove that it was or wasn't paid product placement would be if we broke into Fox Studios and checked for ourselves in their records. I don't think we're cut out for the job though. We're gonna have to hire someone. And I don't think Harry and Marv are quite cut out for this job.
Where you going? Disney World? Disneyland?
One thing that Kevin had to learn for the movie that was wasted was his piano lessons. That's right, they taught him to play the piano. Because originally, in this scene right here, he was going to be playing a piano when they had this great party going on. But instead they thought that was a tad bit boring, so they gave him a bunch of strings and made him Pinocchio it up in there. In case you don't know what that is hanging around his neck, by the way, that's a laugh box toy that was trendy in the 90s.
What's so funny?
We all saw Michael Jordan taking a ride on the train. Kevin got that from a poster in Buzz's room though, and he obviously cut it out. He even cut out the part where the basketball was. However, later on in the movie, when Kevin is running away from the bad guys, we can see that poster magically reconnected itself to its original condition. Oops. One thing most of you didn't realize about Kevin, and that we never really get to see, or barely even hear for that matter, is that Kevin actually has a dog. What? If you listen closely to Kevin's mom when she's on the phone in the beginning of the movie, she mentions they put the dog in a little doggy hotel for their little vacation trip so they didn't have to take it to Paris.
No, we're not bringing the dog. Put it in the kennel.
However, we see no signs of a dog bowl, or water bowl for that matter, anywhere in this movie. Maybe the dog just drinks from the toilet and eats from the table. Zelda does. You know who else wasn't there? Kevin. What? Kevin? Yep, that's right. There are a lot of really strict child laws for actors on how many hours of the day they can perform, how late they can perform, how much education you have to give them while they're performing so they don't fall behind on their schoolwork. A lot of boring legal stuff. So a lot of these scenes late at night, they had to build the sets to be able to put Kevin in the scene where they can make it look like it's artificially nighttime. It was also wintertime when they filmed, so it started getting dark around 4:30 and they can pretend it was much later than it really was. You can watch Home Alone any time of year, but it seems to be a little bit more magical if you watch it around Christmas. Part of that is because they layered the entire movie with subtle Christmas decorations and seasonal traditions, all the way down to painting the walls green. And no Christmas would feel completely like Christmas without a little bit of snow. However, when it doesn't snow in Hollywood, you make it snow. How? With potato flakes. That's right, sorry to bust your bubble, but that's fake snow falling from the sky. You can always tell the fake stuff from the real stuff because the powdered potato flakes turns a yellowish color when it clumps together on the ground. When Harry burns his hand on the door, this is a little Easter egg to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Santa drove a crummy piece of junk car. Unless, of course, that's the kind of car you drive, then it's a great reliable machine. However, when the car stalled, that wasn't actually in the script. It really did break down in real life, and the camera crew all started laughing. Thankfully though, Kevin didn't turn around to see what all the fuss was about, and good old Saint Nick just played right along with it, making it look like it was all part of the show. P.S. Don't smoke, it's bad for your health. Are you ready for today's survey time? Alrighty, here we go. If you were left home alone and someone was trying to break into your house, what would you do? A, call the police. 2, call a family member or close friend. Or D, try to defend yourself. Remember Fuller? You know, that was the kid that wet the bed all the time and loved Pepsi. He's actually Kevin's brother in real life. That's right, Macaulay and Kieran are brothers. What's not real though is that little chair. It's actually made of rubber so that way they don't hurt the soda drinking, bed wetting little Fuller. Also, when Marv is walking through the snow, you can see his feet look really big for some reason. That's because he has rubber shoes on that look like feet. While walking through the snow, shooting take after take after take, they couldn't have him going around barefoot the entire time. The movie really likes rubber though. When Marv steps on the nail is made of rubber. But for some reason, even knowing that, it still is painful to watch. What isn't rubber though is the Christmas ornaments. But there wasn't glass either. It was actually candy glass. Which isn't as dangerous as real glass bulbs, but it's still somewhat painful to step on. And that's his real feet, not rubber feet, and not a stuntman. They saved the stuntman for the stunts where they actually fell on concrete steps. Those weren't padded steps they landed on. Speaking of Christmas ornaments, here's the Christmas ornament scene that Boss Baby copied. But if you look closely at the bulb, you will see that little dark spot by Kevin is actually the camera lens. Oh. Old Man Marley at first seems to be a creepy old man that's a murderer. But as time goes on, Marley and Kevin get to know each other and he turns out to be quite a nice old guy. If you look closer though, you might have noticed the cut seems to go on a journey just like Kevin and Marley's relationship does. The first time they see each other in person, Marley cut his hand raw and it's bleeding. In its worst possible moment ever. Then later on when they break the ice and they get to know each other a little bit, we see the wound has a bandage on it and it's no longer bleeding. Just like their relationship.
Merry Christmas.
Then at the end, Marley finally gets to see his family and it looks like him and Kevin are now good friends. We see that his wound has completely healed. Their friendship and his family are now completely whole. Haha, cheesy Hallmark moment. One thought I had though is why in the world would this guy spend his time and money and energy buying salt to de-ice all these sidewalks for everyone? Here's the thought though. In the end, we see that Marley resolves the matters with his son, and he gets to see his son, his daughter-in-law, and his granddaughter. Who we don't see though is Marley's wife. I think what happened is she slipped and fell on a patch of ice. And she obviously tragically died. Now he spends his days getting ice off the sidewalk so no one else suffers. Perhaps this is even the reason why him and his son had a massive fight years ago before Kevin even showed up.
You want to know the real reason?
Maybe it's because his son was supposed to shovel the driveway and he didn't. That's why his mom slipped and fell and his dad blamed him over the tragedy.
Years back, before you and your family moved on the block, I had an argument with my son. We lost our tempers. And I said I didn't care to see him anymore. He said the same. We haven't spoken to each other since.
Now, thankfully though, they've healed and they moved on together as a family.
No kidding. What a funny guy.
Regardless of the reason though, Marley spends so much time and effort clearing the sidewalk so people can walk on it, then Kevin goes off and walks in the middle of the street. Remember Buzz's girlfriend, Woof?
Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Well, she wasn't actually a she. It's actually a picture of a he. The director didn't want a girl to feel shamed every year Christmas came around and she would see herself in the holiday videos as a creepy girlfriend. Speaking of the director, Chris Columbus, the director, put a lot of his own family in the movie. This lady right here on the plane is his mother-in-law, and the baby in her lap is his daughter. The flight attendant on the plane is his wife, Monica. Then later on, when Kevin is walking by a family-packed house, we see his nephew, Bob. Also, the cop that is sent out to the house to check on poor little Kevin is also related to Chris.
There's no one home. The house looks secure. I'm to count their kids again.
He's the director's father-in-law. The driver from the airport shuttle was Pete, not quite a relative, but it's the director's real-life personal driver for both Home Alone and Home Alone 2.
Hi, you've reached the Murphys. Please leave a message after you hear the beep.
The voice here in the voicemail is a recording of Raja Gonzal, and he's the editor of the movie.
Call me a parrot.
You're right.
Remember that alarm clock with the built-in battery? Not only did Kevin clean up the entire house, well, most of the house, in less than one night, he also found time to reset the alarm clock. In case you're new to this thing we call the internet, there are a lot of conspiracies out there that Elvis faked his death to retire. There's even a large group of people that believe that Elvis liked acting so much that he still sneaks himself into movies. Many people believe that this guy right here is actually Elvis in disguise. This is a movie that you want to make sure is in your Blu-ray library. A link is in the description. If you're newly subscribed to the channel, let me know in the comments.
I can't tell you that,
Why can't you?
because you're a stranger.
Find these 5 hidden Easter eggs and leave a comment where they are. Include hashtag Home Alone for your chance to win any one of the shirts from the store. Anyone, you get the pick. Also, let me know what movie you want to talk about next, and subscribe so you don't miss our next adventure. Remember, most importantly though of all, gents and gentlets, share a smile this holiday season. They are contagious.
Oh, you better watch out. You better not hide. If your doors are open, we're coming inside. Harry and Marv are coming to town. We know when you're out dancing. We know just what to take. We know where all the money's hid. So come on, give us a break. Oh, you better watch out. You better not hide. If your doors are open, we're coming inside. Harry and Marv are coming to town.
That's it. We're done.